Yes, hi there. And these comments, I'm just using your initials, MM, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. I just read your essay here, and I'm going to give you a score right now so you can kind of see where you are. Okay, your essay will score in the 2 range. So, in this case, I think you have sometimes a misunderstanding of either the reading passage or the lecture. You also have language errors or expressions that make connections and meaning unclear at key junctures. So you have those 2 problems. So let's go back to what you wrote. Let me just give you an idea of some of the language errors. So if I'm looking at this paragraph, I might say, first, the reading passage explains that the homeschool students impoverished is not the right word. Impoverished has to do with being poor and not having a lot of money. So I think there's probably a better word you can use here. So you can say they will not get much needed social interaction, which could, you might say, affect the student in the future. Then maybe say here, however, in the school, students cooperate with each other. Maybe say here, socialization skills then maybe say so something like that. However, in the school, the author argues, students cooperate with each other, which teaches them the socialization skills they need. However, and maybe here, on the other hand, the lessening, can't use that word. That's a totally different word than what you're looking for. You can say here, the listening passage, you can't say is argues. If you say is, then you have to say arguing, but you don't even need that. You can just say the listening passage argues that many of the I think you should say it like this, high-paying jobs. And once you say jobs, you don't have to say they. It's not necessary. Just say, many of the high-paying jobs do not require workers to deal with other people. In addition, the personality could vary. You might want to say here from one student to another, and it can be solved by many solutions. Now, if we look at the actual reading passage here, Let's see what it says here. Let's check. So we'll go to the listening passage here. This is what you didn't say. This is where you're leaving out some important information. You might want to say homeschooling gives students a more relaxed, kind of secure environment. And even though these students don't socialize maybe as much with other students, they do have chances to socialize, such as social networks and extracurricular activities like clubs and sports. So I think you didn't really include, I think, all the important information from the lecture here. Now, as you can see, I actually went through and made quite a few corrections. If I go through every paragraph, you'll notice that you're having a lot of problems with either word choice or sentence structure, or you're, for example, instead of saying the listening passage, you say lessening, which is an entirely different word altogether. So you're just not comfortable with the word choice and using words in English. So one of my suggestions for you is spend a lot of time in the vocabulary part of my course, and even you can practice spelling the words that you learn, so you'll know how to spell them, you'll know what they mean, you'll know how to use them. It'll be much easier for you to express your ideas in English. Okay, one other example I wanted to point out. Yeah, fine. With the reading passage demonstrate that since the schools have a specific time to come in, that is lead to raise a student disciplined and accountable. So what you didn't really say here, I mean, you're saying indirectly, but I think it's a good idea to be a little more explicit, is when we get to the reading passage, it's talking about that homeschool students they don't really learn how to be punctual and responsible, at least according to the reading passage, because they don't have to come to school in the morning at a certain time. So they also do not learn about deadlines. For example, turning in work at a certain time, and that fails to teach them to be responsible. So again, I don't think you were very clear in how you said this information either. All right, now let's take a look at the actual rubrics here. So on this one, I'm going to put you at about 2.0 out of 4, about 14 points out of 30. So right now your writing is just not academic enough, to be honest with you. So it'll take you some time, I think, to solve these problems. So I'm going to put you at 2.0 out of 4, 14 points out of 30. Now for the purposes of our class, 2.4 is going to give you 64% on this assignment. All right, anyway, thank you for doing the integrated writing practice test.